Get that out. And no, do that. And go there, right there. And all right. Oh, good. We're live. Woo! Good evening, two people. One person, two people, three people. Damn it! How y'all doing, three people? All right, it's Gerard. I don't know. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I figure I'm a break a cold one. Run my mouth for a little bit. See if anybody wants to jump in a panel. What's going on, Amanda Boudreaux? How you doing tonight? I finally realized that these are twist tops. I stopped using the bottle of. Good Lord, like it just came out the fields. Oh my gosh, I look dark. Well, that's what the sun will do to you. And the bad lighting, the sun is setting over there. So it's got like this whole darkness thing going on. Samson, good evening. Good evening. How are you feeling this evening? Ooh, it's hot. Long day. Long day. Y'all have to excuse me. I'm gonna have to kill some flies while we're here. I feel like I'm in Arkansas on my grandmama's porch. It's an apocalypse out here. I've been feeding ants all day. Get off of there. But it's the end of it. You can't see it, but I'm actually screening most of my patio in, which is going to be a great thing because when the flies can't get to water and they can't get to what you're eating, then they don't eat. And so this is going to be like a workshop area. I actually mostly cook in here. I weld in here. I'll plant seedlings in here. I do a lot of things. You just don't want flies flying around. Lee Houston, how you doing? How's Pennsylvania, bro? I hear y'all shutting down again. The comorbidities are coming to get you. Comorbidity demic. I almost got 3 of them in one hit. I need to go back to Pennsylvania, bro, but I don't know if I'm going. If y'all are shutting down again, Texas is bad enough. I got to pick a new grocery store down here because I went to mine 2 days ago and they put the face diaper sign back up. And I was the only one in the store not wearing one. And wanted to check out. When I was checking out, one of the ladies came over to my checkout guy and said, whispered in his ear something. I said, yeah, I know what she said, punk. And he said, yeah, sir, next time you come back, can you wear a face diaper? And I said, sure. I'm not coming back. That's how that works. No, I grew all my own food last year. I've been planting beans like crazy. I'm about a month away from being completely sustainable out here in the freaking desert. So I don't need to go. But anyway, the point is, Lee, that bothers me enough. I am not going. And people in Texas mostly don't take it that seriously. They understand that, the common cold is the common cold. Eat healthy and don't worry about it. But going back to Pennsylvania, Jersey, Tennessee wasn't so bad, but I had to cross all these states to get back over there. And I'm not sure that I can do that, Lee, and not choke anybody. I can kirk out. I can flip. Hey, what's going on, Guyan? Yeah, I know who you are, Lola Mar. I know who you are. Oh, Lee, oh my gosh. Lee is on Twitch too. What are you trying to save the world through social media? Uh-oh. Jackie McMillan is angry. Why are you angry, girl? What's going on? What happened? Somebody stole your cat? Somebody ran over your muskrat? What happened? Tell me what's going on, Jackie McMillan. Who messing with you? Is that damn Fauci messing with you? Is that isn't Gates done? I haven't seen him at all, but I don't watch the news, but nobody's posting about Gates. I figure he was out of the show. Is he still in the show? Is that who's messing with you, Jackie? Is Fauci? Is he messing with you? He used to bother me when I live in Pennsylvania. Don't bother me no more. I don't give 2 damns what come out that man's mouth. I'm in Texas. I'm surrounded by people who don't give too much of a damn. Some of them do. But you know what? The only people down here that give a damn, Jackie, are immigrants, right? Like people who weren't born in America. Because, I give them all kind of, leeway because I kind of feel like, people immigrate to America and they're like, ooh, their government's better than our government. And it might actually be true to a degree. It's not a government, it's a corporation. But they believe, they don't understand. They haven't grown up here. They don't know that these motherfuckers lie. All they do, they lie, 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 la, 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 la. That's all they do is lie. And so I understand immigrants like believe in the American corporation government thing, oligarchs. But people who live here, they should know better. If you live here your whole damn life, you should know better. All they do is lie. So I give them, I'll actually, if I think my rule right now is I'm making a list and I'm checking it twice. If you go along with the New World Order nonsense with face diapers or Ovaltines, I'm never going to buy from you again. You can go all the way to hell. You're dead to me. I don't care what you make. Tennis shoes, soft drinks. I don't care if you grow organic food, if you're a grocery store. If you go along with the New World Order, you're dead to me. I will never spend a dime in your store ever again. And if you are like a lot of my friends' companies, you're requiring people get an experiment on their body to work for your company, I will never buy crap from you ever again. I'll just go without, or I'll order online from somebody else and I'll just have to wait for it. But this little grocery store, I was saying, I'll shop with them again when they get past the face diaper thing. It's like a low Mexican grocery store, and they believe the American corporation government thing. Anyway, who else is here? Hey, all right, what we got? The future seems bright. I think it is, guy, and I think this all turns out well. I think this all goes in our favor. I think this we're in a rut at the moment. Yeah, some real bad things are happening, but it's always darkest before the light. You got to go through the bull shizzle to get out on the other side. You got to shovel a bunch of poo to clean the floor. So I think right now we're just cleaning house. I think they've built a world that's completely unsustainable. It's collapsing. Thank God, let it collapse. They're going to do everything they can to save it. They'll lie, cheat, steal, make stuff up, pretend this, that, the other. And but I think on the other side, the world will be better for it. I think on the other side, it's going to break down America. Well, United States Incorporated. Hopefully, America will be intact. And I think people will be more enlightened about the benefits of anarchy. I'm an anarchist 100% because anarchy is a family. Anarchy is peaceful. Anarchists aren't the people burning down the streets. Anarchists are the people who just want to grow their own food and be left alone, make their own decisions in life. Hang on, let me share my stream to my page. A few brothers said they're going to come on and drink with me. They stood me up. That's how that goes. That's the people will stand you up in a minute. Hold on a second. Let me share this to my page. Y'all got one beer. What is it in beer? What is this? It's the same stuff. I bought a case of it, 12 of them, about 2 months ago. This is how much I drink. But my friends are helping me drink more. They're into drama and crazy stuff, and they believe the U.S. government. That makes me want to drink a little bit more. Hold on. All right, that's my page. Hang on, let me share. There we go. And back over here. Who we got? Extreme difference. It's rained just about every day for a month. Weird. Well, they're playing with those weather weapons. Lee Houston, right? They're playing with all the tools that JFK and LBJ talked about, and so yeah, it's jacking up the weather worldwide. People run around screaming climate change. I'm screaming, you just need to go listen to what JFK said in his speech and realize these people lying to you. Go out to geoengineering.org and realize it. For there's conspiracy theory and then there's just money. They change the weather for money. That's all it is. They make it rain in certain places and it screws up other places. Do you still have your Philly residence? I do not, Gayan. I told you I was done. Completely done. When I'm done, I'm done. I walked away from all of that bullshit. Like people are wondering now whether or not they should quit their job or get experimented on. Yeah, you listen, that's up to you. But I like my human DNA. Ain't nobody messing with that. No, I was done. No, I did. Pennsylvania is a plantation. Like I told people, guy, I'm running south of the Mason-Dixon. I got to go find some freedom. I pulled a Harriet Tubman. I got to get out to For the most part, the North done lost their damn mind. Except for what, North Dakota. Oh, I love that governor. She's off the hook. She's off the hook. Wonderful, wonderful woman. I believe in freedom. I believe in freedom. I believe the children are our future. We shouldn't be slaves and happily shackling them. Don't show them the human DNA you can change inside. Give them a sense of immunity. Let them get that natural immunity. Anyway, so no, I was done, gang. I ran. I packed up, put that, not to get that stick in the bag. I threw everything I own in the bag with the stick. Found me the nearest train, and I was gone. No, the world is coming to an end. I got to go do some positive things with my life. Working for corporations is not one of those things. Just all this lying media stuff. Yeah. Oh, okay. We need to turn the media off. Turn the TV off. That's easy. That's an easy fix, girl. You know that. You want. Bam. Look at that. You just make it go away. I'm tired of flies landing on me. I make them go away. You don't want to see the pundits and the journalists line up a storm because they can't offend their advertiser, and their number one advertiser is Big Pharma. So they refuse. Oh, look, somebody came and enjoyed the show. Oh, damn, he disappeared. Where'd he go? Somebody was going to come. I was trying to do a panel if y'all want to join. There he goes. Hold on. Oh, there you go. Here you go. You want something to go away? Just make it go away. What's going on, Beaufont? What's this mean? What is all of this? What's this, man?
You're talking about going away. Shoo.
Shoo. That's what you do. I was talking to Jackie. She's tired of the media. And I said, you know what? That's easy. You get tired of your boss. Your boss is in your face. You get tired of all kind of other things. You can't make them go away. Get tired of your wife or husband. That's your problem. But if you're tired of media, just turn the TV off. Walk away. So how you doing, man? What's going on with you? What are you drinking?
Tired. I'm drinking some whiskey. I poured me some on the occasion of talking with you.
Oh Lord!
I've been moving all month.
Oh yeah. Because I was about to ask you, like, damn, what kind of you drinking whiskey? What kind of problems you got in life? You drinking whiskey?
I realize
that you're moving.
Yeah, I'm in a totally different world right now. Yeah, so I'm going back down to San Diego in the morning actually to get more stuff out of the house. We should be done tomorrow, but then I'll be going back and forth for the next month. I'll be getting that transmission in my truck like I was telling you about, which I'm excited for. But it's not that bad. It's only about 2-hour drive depending on traffic. So I try to go early in the morning. Other than that, things are okay. Just different world. It's kind of hard to get into a new job, new organization without meeting people, seeing. I haven't been to my facility yet, so
Okay.
Take it as it comes, So but I mean, it's. I mean, compared to what you have to go through on a daily basis, like from what I can imagine, I mean, you can choose to. There's always something you can bitch about, right? If you choose to.
Well, I think that's what it comes down to, and I don't think my world is too different than your world or anybody else's. It's the same thing. You can whine about it or you can do something about it. Everybody's problems are different. Everyone's equipped to handle different problems. There was a time in my life where I was more equipped to handle on-grid problems. Right now, I think I'm a little more equipped to handle off-grid problems. And it's probably because of all the things I learned on grid. But like you said, you can whine about it or go do something about it. And really, to me, the only difference between here and corporate America is here I can see what's coming. Corporate America, you can't see what's coming. Humans are a little more sneaky than hogs and javelinas and stuff. So,
at least they're honest. They're a little bit. They can't really.
They're honest. They're not going to try to get you fired from the TPS reports.
Right. I mean, that they, if you mess with them, what you're going to get, so you don't mess with them is pretty. pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, I think that would be the right saying, is that out in the wild, things are more reliable, right? You know what the animals are up to, you know what they want. Around
Right.
humans, you never know what they want, you never know what they're up to, and they're sneaky as hell.
Well, we're hardly ever honest enough with what we want with ourselves. Look at how difficult it is for people to actually ask for what they want, and then they wonder why they don't get it.
Why don't people ask for what they want?
Because they're more concerned about losing than they would rather keep it in a safe space rather than actually take the chance to actually put themselves out there and get it. Anything has ever been worthwhile in my life, and it's never been a graceful experience. Pardon me as I mess with it. I haven't been online on camera since I moved, so I'm still things are pretty much in disarray in my apartment still. Not that bad. I can cook and stuff like that, but I remember like going to college, for example. Like one of the reasons why it took me so long to go to college because I was chicken shit. And then I got to a point where I was like, I found something that I really wanted to do. That was another thing, as I didn't really have that either. But I found something that was like that I looked to, that I thought I could get out of it from a standpoint of not make me skilled, but put me in positions to foster different opportunities for myself. This is the best way I could put that. For something that I felt like I generally was interested in. And if I have to do things I'm not generally interested in, I'm not going to do well. This is kind of how I operate. But so I went later in life than most people, and by that time I wasn't so concerned about failing because I was tired of it. I was just it was worth failing to get it, to face that reality. So I don't know if I'm not really communicating that as much as succinctly as I would like. But the gist of it was, it wasn't like I overcame my fear. It just got to a point where, like, I was so busy, or my interests were as such where I had to accept that fate head on, as part of whatever risk I had to overcome.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought you were going to go to, well, people don't ask for what they want because they don't actually know what they want. They don't actually know themselves.
That could be true as well. But I mean, we're always changing. So I think that you go down an interesting path on that topic, and not to boo-hoo it, but there is some truth in that, to the point of there was an opening to not Saul, Cat Williams, the beginning of one of his specials. And he was talking about, he was in the back of a limo going to a show, and he was all talking about getting aggravated with people had made it, and this isn't, I'm not gonna let success change me. And he was like, why wouldn't you? Why go through all this effort to have these new experiences to be the same person you were beforehand? In fact, you can't even do that. So I think that also becomes into play, though, that we don't, anytime you do something creative, you have to allow that process to change you as much as you might impart change on whatever canvas you're operating on. It's not a one-way street. And a lot of times people need, and they're clinging on to this idea of who they think they are, that they're not going to sacrifice that.
Right. Well, I would think that, somebody just appeared in the lobby and they disappeared.
It's probably harsh.
No, it was, well, you never know with harsh, because there's always a name. It was something like Queen Candace or something. It was something crazy. He's always got weird profiles. I never know what's going on with that man. Trust Fund Harsh. What does he do for a living anyway?
He trolls people for a living.
That would make sense.
I get calls at 3 o'clock in the morning from that man sometimes. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's always he loves drama, and
Well,
he loves to pull people into his drama. But no, it's never his drama. He's always like he's like I don't know, he's like the Indian Geraldo Rivera or something like that. Because he's always facilitating the drama, right? Like he's always got people around. Yeah, and he's kind of in the middle. Well, what do you think about this? And well, why do you did it? And then like it blows up into something crazy. And then he trolls the hell out of the person who got the foulest or the loser, creates profiles, put their names on, and put their address on the internet. That's an interesting guy.
everyone has their own way of dealing with things. Some of it, some of it I get, some of it I don't.
I wanted to go back to Cat Williams. I think that came out of it was in the 80s, where people were kind of like, oh, well, don't let the money change you, get success, but always remember where you came from. And when I was young, that made sense. Always remember where you came from. Now I'm just like, that's some bullshizzle. Nope. You're going through a process. You're changing in life. You're going places, you're meeting people, you're doing things, you're becoming creative, you're failing, you're succeeding. Don't be dumb and not let your experiences change you. Let it change you. Let it evolve you. Let it take you where it's taking you. I think is a beautiful thing. Sure, if you want to make money and stay in the trailer park or the hood, go for it. But why not just experience life? Just go live that life and do that for a while. So at least, even if Hollywood or, that lifestyle, if that's what you're doing, is as dirty as what everyone says, you'll experience it and then you can come back and talk about it. But life is made to be experienced. You're supposed to be changing, I think, all the time.
Well, it's something also innately part of our need for security. And what I mean by that is we use the analogy of kind of being on a boat, right? And you can never get the thing to stop rocking. It's always moving if it's in the water. But that's how we are in life. We're always fluctuating and bobbing, but we have this desire for something rigid and absolute and something to stop when we want it to stop and to, and we have this, it's an innate part of ourselves. And I think that's exactly what Buddhism refers to when it talks about desire. It's not necessarily our innate desires. It's our desire for things to operate the way we think they ought to. Not how it does without interference or without our judgment or without even our observation. We've talked about this topic before.
Yeah, we have. I was about to say, are you Buddhist?
I appreciate a lot of the teachings. I don't know if I claim, I don't define that.
Yeah.
I don't think that is a thing, but then there's a whole culture behind it, and it depends on what you want to talk about. Like the cultural mechanism of it, no.
Yeah, well, I don't think. You don't get a card. There's no membership. You don't. I think there are people who follow some of the teachings and philosophies, right? Some who might. I don't think anyone follows all of them, but I don't think being Buddhist is a thing anymore. I think they're ways of living, and there are those you take in and some you don't. But then that's taking me full circle because Christianity is the same thing, right? Nobody does all of that.
I think my life, the events that have happened in my life, the places I've been to, the people I have relationships with, are part of my highest guru. As much as they are part of your highest guru, those same things apply to you. And what it takes for Gerard to get it, and the situations and timing that it's going to take for you to be enlightened, is totally unique to Gerard Kenyatte. And that is your highest guru. And then appreciating that everybody has their own trigger mechanisms, their own paths, set of circumstances in order for them to get it. And no two situations are alike. And that, I think, is part, you can't claim an appreciation for the potentiality for enlightenment without that appreciation for that.
I love it. I love it because my gurus always change all the time. Like I never listen to anyone for any period of time, long period of time, and I never listen to anybody about everything. But if you take that whole amalgamation of people that you interact with in life and social media and whatever, the things you take in and receive and the things you don't, your highest guru is your experiences in life, your environment. And you're always hopefully learning from it.
Your relationships. I mean, that's what the riverman, the boatman, and the river represented in Siddhartha. And I mean, I know Jonathan and I were talking at some point about talking about that book, and I mean, I've read that book several times. I've given that book to several people, and I mean, I have a deep understanding that what I appreciate from my experiences are not going to be for everybody. I mean, they're unique to me, and I have unique needs. But at some point, you can't take a pixel out of this universe. We're all dependent on the existence of everything else. We are all ourselves in the body in the body of God, in the body of existence, and the whole thing is God. And you can't take everything out of it. Our original sin was probably our attempt to personify. There we go. Let's say that right, and or individualize the concept of God, and that's impossible. It goes back to consciousness. We don't possess a consciousness. We're experiencing consciousness, and we are a part of it. The ability to exist is consciousness.
Makes sense.
I don't know if this is the conversation you really wanted to have when you were sitting down, or did you care? I'm just checking on you.
No, you know what? Listen, I'm fine with anything. I'm just there are times I can keep up with Beaufont, and there are times I cannot keep up with Beaufont. I know what you're saying. It makes perfectly good sense, but I always like to offer up something deep and add to the conversation.
Yes,
but
sir.
Today has been a long, rough day.
I recognize that when you come on lately, this is, and people might not recognize this, but this is you sitting down, spending some time with people that you don't have the ability to now that you're on your own on Mars, Texas. You know, I mean, I'm sure the rabbits and armadillos and wildlife there are having conversations with you, but it's not the same thing. And this is, in fact, part of you reaching out, spending some time with people. Or this is your coffee shop, you know, right now.
Yeah, and thank you for psychoanalyzing me. I don't think you're too far from the truth. I think sometimes you got to unwind, and you know, this is my unwind. I do kind of miss, you know, probably having regular live streams and interacting with people a little more. I do. The flies, as I'm constantly itching, because they're always landing on me. They're not as interactive, you know, as other people. But yeah, in the evenings, it's kind of a thing of, you know, I'll sit back and I'll lounge. I kind of relax, kind of take in the day. It would be good to interact with folks here and there. But, you know, as far as a really deep conversation, I'm not really there. I'm just kind of vegetating out. And get my my face, because the sun is over there. It's setting. So all you can see is Shaka Zulu. That's all you're going to get.
Jill, he left the light crew and makeup crew in Philly. They didn't come with him. There was no. They wouldn't hold the plants. So
the sound team. I don't think there's anything. I can't. There's no way I can turn it. There's just not enough light because the sun is going down.
I think the problem is like the daytime light is behind you, and there's no forward light. You know.
It's all around. It's hitting the atmosphere around me, and so everywhere I turn, it's lighter back there than it is up here.
If people didn't know who you were, they would think that you were coming from Somalia and you were about to parade some prisoners from a pirate escapade that you did, that you wanted ransom for. But we know better
that
than
is
that.
that is exactly it.
So Jonathan
Oh,
has some
man,
goodies
but-
for you from me when he sees you tomorrow.
Oh, good. I like goodies, man. I always like goodies. He's down the street. He said that he's at
Yeah,
he's at the Mars Motel, so I'm gonna go hang out
that's
with
where
him
he
and have
says he's
breakfast
at.
tomorrow
I think
morning.
he's at the midget topless bar.
Oh, can I tell you something? Oh my gosh. It's a good thing I didn't tell him yet. I didn't know Jonathan was into that, but I stayed in a hotel.
He doesn't know either,
was it?
but he is.
I stayed in a hotel last week, I think. I forgot when. I had to do my taxes, so I need to be in an air conditioned environment, relax. Here, I'll never do my taxes because I'm always running around. I got things to do. But for some reason, there are certain hotels in El Paso, and this is the second one I stayed in, and they're completely run by some sort of little hooker thing. Like, because I was in the back, and in the back of the hotels where they put me, and all night long, all you heard were Johns going in, conversation.
Number one place in El Paso to get herpes, right?
Well, I think
Yelp.
they were getting
That's
worse
what
than
it's probably how it's rated. Either bed mites or herpes. One of the two.
Yeah, all I know is all night long, cars were pulling up. I thank goodness I didn't hear the things that were happening in the hotel room, but it was definitely the wrong hotel and the wrong location. But yeah, there's a lot of that.
And it is everywhere. It's just that's one of the things I was coming to appreciate, because this move kind of puts me back in Gen Pop, as I call it. I'm back in an apartment. I'm back, and like I'm next to a really cool neighborhood, but like this row is like cool apartment, and then mixing. But at the same time, that's just reality. It's just funny, and I kind of watched it a little bit in Seattle. Is being wealthy in a lot of ways means you get to go into your own little manicured fantasy land and not deal with the realities of what the other half don't have to deal with.
Oh yeah. Well, money and privilege. I'm trying to think. Are they they're two different things, but a lot of times they go together. But I think there's a lot of benefits to being a general population. Like, some of my best educations came from living in a living environment where there are lots of people around. So I guess it depends on the apartment or the complex. Some everyone kind of keeps to themselves, but if you get in the right place and everyone's interacting, it's like a social media, except for everybody lives on their profile. And if you got like a little central area, lobby, pool, where everyone kind of congregates. I mean, I stayed in one apartment like that, general population, general pop. And it was awesome. I mean, the things that you learn, the type of people you're forced to interact with.
In Seattle, Capitol Hill, like my posse's on Broadway. Broadway is the main street on Capitol Hill. It's almost like a dorm. At some people, everybody in their late teens to mid 20s has spent some time on Capitol Hill and the Seattle area. And then they kind of, as they become semi-young professionals, they probably move to Lower Queen Anne or Ballard, out into the hood a little bit. It's just funny the progression that we do, and we think that we're growing up when we're just kind of putting on new uniforms, new entrapments. Hell, you and I did it, being married at one point, and being But at the end of the day, you're still the same insecure little kid you were when you're a teenager, And if that's then you're ahead of the game, right? Because then you start focusing on the things that, like, okay, what do I really want to do? Why do I really want this? That kind of thing,
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, we don't ever really grow up. I mean, that can be a whole discussion alone. There's no such thing as growing up.
Speaking of never growing up.
Speaking of never growing up, right on time.
What can I say? Forever young.
What the fuck? We don't get the fucking cockatoo head headpiece?
Maybe later. Maybe later.
Fuck, you're
Maybe
lazy
later,
days.
Baldies. What can I say? Hey, Melissa's
you're
here. I didn't know.
smooth,
You know,
I'm gonna send you some Aquanet.
I didn't know she. Yeah, wonderful.
Wow, like your
Oh,
whole
this
face.
is when the
That's
accent is
so
perfect.
weird. Oh, this weird. I feel like I'm looking at a baby's booty, like, but it has lips and it's talking. Like you're so smooth and shaven. Why'd you shave the beard? What happened?
I didn't shave the beard. Right up with the goatee. That was like 6 months ago, Gerald.
6 months ago? Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I know.
I guess I
Gerald.
haven't seen you live stream in about that long.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense now, doesn't it?
It makes a lot. Oh, you cut your hair too? Turn to the side. Do that again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just okay. Yes. Oh, you got a little part on the side. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
I've always
daddy
had a
used to
part
take
on the
that.
side, Gerald.
I didn't know it's
Yeah.
called a part, right? That's a part.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we can get him to rock a faux hawk. I think Karsh could rock a faux hawk.
I think I did back in the day. Anyway,
Oh,
so what are we talking about besides Gerald being in the middle of the desert and still using today's technology?
We were talking. What the fuck were we talking about? I forget now.
We were talking about
And the
everything,
fact
but
that
what's wrong-
RAV4 still, the fact that people can still drive RAV4s from the 80s.
That's actually not a RAV4. That was a 4Runner.
Okay. I get my Toyota
first of
SUVs
all,
confused.
this is not automation technology. But what's wrong with using automation in the desert, man? I told you I'm not off gridding. I mean, I'll camp for a little while, but soon there'll be all kind of electronics and dishwashers, eventually robotics, and I'm not here to rough it. I'm not no doomsday prepper. I don't care nothing about that.
Well, then what's the point of
This is
being in
gonna
the
be an
desert? Then? I
automated
thought you were
environment.
trying to create new civilization in the desert, not just create like an extension of the thing we already have.
I don't
Well,
think he was
if
set.
you want space and freedom in this country, you have choices to make, right? You're either going to be very cold or you're going to be very hot,
Or
or
very
you're not
wet,
gonna
like in the
be-
Northwest.
or very wet, right? Exactly. You're not going to be where people want to be.
Or
So
very
you have to
humid,
go-
like in the South, like in
Mhm.
South and like the Southeast.
Oh, right. You have to go to a place where there's not much government. There aren't many rules and regulations. You can live free, and those are going to be the places where most people don't want to be. So you got to bring technology with you or know-how to make your oasis in whatever that place is. But it's either that or it's or kind of stay where you are. So I prefer to be warm. I've been cold my entire life. I don't ever want to see snow and ice again. I never want to shovel snow again. And out here, it's easy. It rains a lot. It's an artificial desert. It's not a real desert. It's what's called dry land, right? We destroyed the trees and the soil so it doesn't hold the moisture, but it still rains. So if you do a little rainwater collection and water the ground on a regular basis, you can make your own little oasis. And then you got to kill flies, though. That's the only thing I have not figured out yet.
We
I
should
hate
invest
flies,
in
man.
some mosquito netting for Gerard.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, you can't see it, but this is my porch. I'm putting, see the screen right there? I'm actually screening the whole thing, and this is my workshop. This is my dirty table there, where I'm like welding and doing all the stuff. I'm actually enclosing the whole thing in what's that stuff called? Not mosquito net, screen. So I can work here and not be bothered by flies. So I apologize, man. I didn't realize you shaved your beard 6 months ago. Like I guess since I moved out here, life has just been a blur. Everything just flies by. I miss everything.
Well, what can I say, Gerald?
You're drinking vodka,
stuck in the
man?
desert so long.
Ty said you were drinking vodka.
No, Ty says he's harsh. I'm having vodka. It's a sign. Well, you know what? I might have some vodka
Oh, this is
Might
gonna be
get
a
a
shit
few
show.
items.
I have whiskey. Fucking if Harsh brings out the Frangelico, this is gonna go sideways.
Oh man, I still have a full bottle. I just don't know if I feel like bringing it out now. We'll see.
Fucking,
We'll see how the night goes.
I didn't know Miss Butterworth's made of alcohol. But anyway,
Well, what can you say? Sugar and alcohol are very similar.
I got to change the background. This is not like a deep conversation. And I need to find something that's equivalent. Maybe I can find a background full of drunk people. Hold on.
Benny Hill.
Speaking of that, supposedly some drunkard wanted to come on the show and just start yelling at people. Some drunken lady wanted to come on and start yelling at everybody.
How'd you know that?
I don't know. I just noticed that backstage while I was waiting.
I'm
Wait
fine
a
with
second.
that.
I don't know.
At this point in my life, I do not care.
Melissa says she has a bottle of red wine.
Oh, you know what? I'm not keeping up with the comments. My bad. It feels like the gang is back together. Not really.
Furious George says, my head is a Bic shaved for the first time in my life. It's weird. I didn't know you shaved your head with Bic. I thought you.
It's not weird. Don't be bald this time. Ain't nothing wrong being bald. Being bald is a
I
great
felt like
thing.
he had
thing.
the electric shavers and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't remember. I've seen him bald on my show before. The funniest thing I remember was we're having an anniversary show. We're all talking about like what's how fucked up marketing is and fashion. And all of a sudden, I get the link I sent to Ty a few hours earlier. He just jumps in the fucking show like, you are not talking fashion without me. No, I know you are not. You are not talking without me. And he's like shirtless, bald, everything. You're just like, wow, that's how I get him on the fucking show. Okay.
So if you're ever in trouble, someone's chasing you and trying to kill you, just start talking about fashion out loud.
Yeah, Furious George comes out of nowhere.
Ty will appear out of nowhere, out of the ether, and help you with your dilemma.
Exactly.
It's like the bat signal.
Exactly. Or either that or just make a Robert Walker reference and he'll come out of the
Sherbert Walker, yeah.
Yeah. Besides the fact that certain that you got to do that. Otherwise he'll never come on your show. No, he'll never come on otherwise.
Has he ever done? I've never seen Robert Walker live. Has he ever?
No, he's never done a live, but they have like a little back and forth with the comments. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's called foreplay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I agree. Moon says we need to start learning about composting, and I agree. I think everybody should get composting toilets, and we should all stop flushing, and we should start learning how to grow food with poo. I agree.
Yeah, we got to bring back the 90s, Gerald. You got to start composting again.
90s?
Yeah, that was a major trend in the late 90s. There was like, oh, instead of throwing things out, let's compost. And then 5 years later, like, no, we can't do this.
Was that the biodiesel?
Well, you know what? It's virtue signaling. That's all these little movements are just virtue signaling. It's like, oh, let's do this. And then people do it. They feel good about themselves. And then they go back to whatever they were doing.
I don't think people realize how much engineering it goes into. There's a reason why there's Texas A&M, Florida A&M, agriculture and mechanical engineering. I mean, living on a homestead, my grandmother grew up in 80 acres in West Louisiana. I mean, there's a lot of engineering that goes into having to be out on your own. And the more off-grid you are, the more engineering you need to. And it's not about what you know. It's always about what you're willing to figure out.
Ooh, that was deep.
Yeah. Wasn't that learning?
Yeah.
That's what learning is. It's not about what you know. It's about what you want to figure out.
But I mean, like when I was in design for trucking, my boss had been lead, design engineer for Jeep Liberty for almost a decade and had been in the field for like 30 years. And it's like, even though they might have and arrive at possible solutions faster, it doesn't preclude the process that you have to go actually go mock it up, and actually impart it so that you can find your unknown unknowns in discovery. Because there's always going to be, every step of the ideation process, there's going to be like, oh, I didn't know it was going to feel this way. I didn't know it was going to do that. I didn't know this was going to be an outcome of this shit until you go through this mock-up, and there's no short circuit of that process.
Yeah.
Gerard's like, I don't want to talk about it right now because I need a project manager.
Exactly. He's
Well,
like,
no, I'm
how am I
agreeing.
supposed to do this by myself? I can't plant any without planting any okra. I need to get a manager out here, a project manager. But when are you coming out back to your home state?
I need to see my mom pretty soon.
I have to say that it's a challenge, but it's a beautiful challenge. You know, and it is about what you're willing to do. Like, you know, you can't just say, "Oh, no, I quit. I'm going home," or I don't want to do this, or I just want to go to sleep. Like, no, you're driven by the homestead, right? Like, there is no, if it's raining and your house is falling, you know, you've got work to do. You know, if you know, it doesn't matter if the sun's going down. It doesn't matter what the weather is.
But the problem is if it's raining and the house is falling, nothing's going to stick. Whether it's like making concrete or welding or any of that, because it's you need it to be dry enough so things can dry off. You know.
But it can be too dry to the point where it doesn't adhere.
Right.
That's one thing. Like, so my background is in carbon composites. And it's you know, so the whole resin mechanism has no structural integrity to it. It's all in the carbon filament, and is where all the strength is. The whole resin system just keeps that in place. So a huge part of it's almost like three-dimensional textiles, especially in aerostructures. Hey, the lighting just got a lot better. You can actually see your face.
Yeah, I had to switch. I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes in the desert.
Now your inbox is going to be a deluge of undergarments. Ladies' undergarments are coming your way. Now that people can see your face.
That is, I don't know why that is not true. That is completely fake news.
That is so true.
That is not true. That is not true.
Gerard's like, well, that could have been true, but you know, I couldn't move into people's apartments. They were gonna beat me with the blender if I ruined their smoothies.
Gerard's like, I don't want to be pregnant again.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, no, you know, it is what it is. But no, I get
the last woman who threw her panties
stuff
at him beat the crap out of him. I think that's what happened. Like the last one who threw her panties at Gerard, just like, I don't know, something must have happened, and then they got into it or something.
No. But you know, I think if the camera phone is a lot better. This is a 5G phone, so I'll probably die. Yeah. But it's a lot better than the laptop camera. It seems like it's handling the silhouette a lot better. But anyway, no, I mean, what I was saying is you're right. I mean, it's about what you're willing to learn, right? And you're either going to quit and go home, or you're going to let something become a disaster, or you're going to learn how to weld, or you're going to learn how to build a house. You're going to learn how to do plumbing. You're going to learn how to take care of chickens. You're going to learn how to chase rattlesnakes. You're going to learn how to, you know, do those things. You're going to learn how to use firearms. You're going to learn how to cook your own food, grow your own food. You're going to learn how to do those things, or they're not going to get done, and your life is going to suck. So that's the beautiful thing about homesteading. Like, I like it because it was a challenge. You know, I can grow food in a wet place. I've been growing food in wet places my entire life. To me, that's stupid. I'm on earth to have an experience. And being out here, it's an experience. I saw my first javelina 2 days ago. You know, it was a little one, wasn't a big one, but
javelinas only get to be about 50 pounds.
Oh, really? Okay, that's pretty small. I mean, this one probably was like, I'd guess 35. He was little.
The pigs, on the other hand, so there is a distinct species difference between pigs and javelina.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, the pigs can get above 500 pounds, and you know that.
Yeah, the hunters the hunters showed me a picture. They were like, well, not the hunter, they were farmers. And I met them at breakfast and they were like, it's like, well, where you at, son? I'm like, well, I'm out here in the hills. So, oh, yeah, we know right where you are. You're right in the middle of hog country. I'm like, yeah, I don't see any hogs. And he's like, they're there. And they
like
showed
raccoons.
me a picture. They shot like 12 of them. Because apparently, I guess when they're around, they roll deep. They're like, Bloods and Crips, like all of them show up. But and they were just showing me the pictures, like, yeah, my land is right next to yours, and they're out there all the time. They're out there with the mountain lions and everything else. Be careful out there, son. I'm like, it's okay. I'm from Pennsylvania. I used to live by Philly, so it's okay. There's nothing out here that's any worse than Democrats and Republicans in Pennsylvania.
What, you think you taste funny because you're from Pennsylvania? So they're like, no, we don't want none of him.
Yeah.
He's going to be tough.
Bad politicians and bad traffic.
And you know what? But that's not too far from the truth, because animals aren't stupid. They know if you're food or not. If you're like out in a situation, it's like a dog, right? If you're running from the dog and the dog knows you're scared of it, yeah, it probably bites you. But if you're in an environment and you're not scared, and to a degree you know how to take care of yourself, most animals will leave you alone, because to them, you're either a predator or something else, but you're not food. And so it has a lot to do with the pheromones you give off and your presence and all that stuff that we don't know anything about. But no, they leave me alone. I mean, I know there are mountain lions up here, like they all in these hills all around me. But I'm not food to them, and they know that. Unless it's like a starvation condition, that's when you get in trouble, is that, you get too confident in yourself. And when an animal's hungry enough, they're going to come for you. It doesn't really matter who you are or what you're putting off. If they don't eat you, they die. So, and that's where you get, like in California, you got a lot of the cougar attacks, right? Where they go after like runners and stuff. I mean, the only concern I have out here is the flies and the damn baby rattlesnakes. The adult rattlesnakes, no big deal. I catch snakes, I chase snakes, that's not a big deal. But their rattles don't work, and they don't know how to regulate their poison. So when they bite you, they don't inject like enough to get you to leave or hurt you. They inject the entire thing, which, most people who die of rattlesnakes, which is rare, usually get bit by a baby. And so that's concerning, because right now it's pornography season and all the rattlesnakes are out doing the oinky boinky, the sticking each other. And so they'll be laying eggs soon. But anyway, that's that.
Next up on Pornhub. I remember because, I'm from East Texas. And so the little baby rattlers around Beaumont, and there's a lot of pine trees in East Texas. And the rattlers out there, the baby ones are the same fucking color as the pine needles, orange.
Oh.
And it's like a blizzard. I mean, I remember my grandmother at 3 years old, she wasn't 3, I was 3, giving me the what's what.
Oh.
So every time I go to Texas, I'm all, we go to my mom's camp in Livingston. We like open doors. You're like using a broomstick. Have the shotgun nearby. Yeah. So a funny story. My mom has a red heeler, Joey, and I love heelers. And they just recently got a new lawnmower. And, when Joey was a puppy, she'd have this habit of trying to herd the riding lawnmower, and she'd actually chase it and bite the wheels as it was running around the yard. So they go and start the lawnmower, and Joey starts attacking the fucking lawnmower, and she hadn't done this in a couple of years. Shut it down, get her back on the patio, yell at her, go and start up again. She does the same thing. And I'm hearing this story. I'm like, what does Joey know that you guys don't know? And Lisa's laughing already at me as she's telling the story. Goes about a third time, and this time Joey gets on top of the fucking lawnmower as it's running. Turns out there was a fucking snake underneath that lawnmower. As I said, what did Joey know that you guys don't know, and she was trying to tell you something?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I love that dog,
Dogs.
and I love that my mom has her, because looking after my mom is part of her job, and she takes it seriously. It's pretty funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, dogs aren't stupid. They have senses that they still use that we don't use anymore, and they don't have any fear. When there's something that needs to get attacked, it's going to get attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings have that fear. But so what's freaky about the dog part, though, is when they start barking and there's nothing there. And like they're running around in a circle and there's something in the center of the room, but you can't actually see it. That's freaky.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no one ever said dogs don't have any sort of telepathy or they can't see any, external beings or ghosts or whatever. No one ever said that wasn't the case.
I think they all, different levels of consciousness almost are in their own different universe in a lot of ways. And there's probably a lot of overlap that we share. But I look at our auditory and visual acuity. We see less than 1% of the all the available wavelength.
Yeah.
UV, infrared. You name it. So we only see a very small fraction of reality, but we think it's
very small. And,
right.
And what people feel, like Max always talks about his dog Carlos. He's always like barking at everyone, even themselves or whatever. But he'd always say, like, in a way, I'm paraphrasing here, obviously, but he'd say in a way that it's a good thing his dog is like that, because at least that keeps that helps him tell which spirit, which people are toxic energy and which people aren't. So maybe dogs in a way are the guardians for the soul of their owners.
Well, they're in tune, and a dog knows how to be a dog. It's the humans that don't know how to be humans. That's the problem.
Well, I think the problem is, I see this since I moved. There's too many people that have dogs that probably shouldn't have dogs. Hell, there's people that probably have kids that shouldn't have kids. There's almost like
there's more of those.
I'm serious when I say that. You laugh, but I'm serious.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Like it's to them, it's like, look, I can be empathetic. I'm a worthwhile human being. So you have a kid, kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's that line in The Wire. It's like, one of the other officers was married, and it's like, well, at least someone can stand that asshole,
I'm making noises, but I'm actually retiring for the evening, so I have to shut some things down.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Well, you got to lock down at nighttime. You got to make sure that you have the things around you in case things go awry.
You know what Mars, Texas is missing?
What's that?
Okra?
You need one of those Mars rovers with longhorn steers mounted to the front of it. Just roving randomly around your property with a tail.
Well, so the good thing is they're usually here, but they've been gone for a while. I know the rancher, and he usually runs cattle up here, but I think he likes me, and I think he realized that I really don't know how to deal with bulls. Like I can deal with little bulls,
right, bro? Yeah,
but the big ones, I think he's giving me time to get my cattle fence completely up, and it's mostly up. But they're here. They're only a few at a time. I don't think he releases his entire herd back here.
Now, the part of Louisiana that my grandmother's from, they still have open range cattle. like you can own a herd of cattle and they're tagged and branded, but they're all just kind of milling about. And I mean, a lot of that area is like lumber, pine tree, country. So there's all these dirt roads and stuff. But yeah, that's why everyone's front yard has a cattle guard on it.
Yeah, that's a necessity.
That which used to
Gotta have
freak me the fuck out at 4 years old.
the cattle guards.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what a cattle
that's
guard
'cause
is, right?
Well, that's because cows don't have good depth perception.
No, the cattle
And
guard
so
is
when
basically
they-
that whole bridge. It's like a pathway, but it's pipes. Like their hooves can't walk.
Well, what I was told is they can't see, like the reason there are pipes and there are holes in between is they don't have good depth perception. And so they're scared to step on it because they feel like they're going to fall through.
I must
And so
be
the
part cow
wildlife-
because that's how I felt at 4.
I think we all are. Aren't we like 80% cow? Or don't we have like 60% of the DNA of cows or something?
You'd be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most mammals share the same DNA at some point.
A good significant portion of it.
Yeah.
I do believe that to be true.
No. I know Ed Higgins shares the same DNA as a pig, so.
Oh,
He's not around anymore. Right? He's done now, right?
Thankfully, he's being slaughtered in Minnesota, but that's besides the point.
Gerard, you might need to give me a call tomorrow, and we might need to do a little video chat on one of the items that Jonathan's going to give you.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Because that item has a weird safety.
Yes. Great idea. I'm convinced I'm not ready to die yet. So
We need to get you a 12
I'll
gauge.
hang on.
We all
Yeah.
gonna die. We all gonna die.
I want an over under. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm. You can do a lot with that. I mean, just slugs and at the same time, that's a ammunition that's always available to
Right.
you. I mean, I got some during the COVID just as backup. And you can make your own a lot easier too. If you had to. Might not be that clean, but you'll get
You
the job
could.
done.
I'm actually looking at my video now. Look like I'm like hiding out, like I just escaped from prison or something. I'm
Oh, I
hiding
know.
out somewhere.
That's like you were gonna be like you were gonna threaten the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Like I'm
And
Welcome to Prison Break with Gerard Kenyatte.
we need to get you some of those velvet paintings as a decor in your background.
Yeah, no, I just got water bottle decor.
One with Elvis, one with some like Tahiti background. We gotta spruce this shit
Yeah.
up for the ladies.
Oh no, I'm not doing any damn thing for no ladies. I'm sorry. That's that's so far out of my like scope right now. Right now, it's survival.
Yeah, I wonder
It's,
why that's the case. I'm just kidding.
Well, this is the adventure, right? Like
Yeah.
this is the adventure of my life, right? So I'm not like really. My mind isn't in the place it used to be on grid. It's off grid, and it's literally building a community. And at some point in time, absolutely, sure, you start thinking about the aesthetics and all that great stuff. But initially, you're thinking about it's 113 degrees in the daytime in the heat of Texas, and which, thank goodness, that's done with. Is cool now, but you got to live. You start focusing on like on-grid stuff, you can die out here, like which is why we were talking about Beaufort, the care package you sent. Like this is I laugh and I joke because this is fun to me. But in reality, if I get bogged down with too much silly stuff, which is why I'm actually blocking people. And I got that from you, Beaufont. You know, you slip and make a mistake. Yeah, the wilderness, you'll die. It'll kill you. It's supposed to. You know, so I don't really focus on things that are low priority. I focus on things that are high priority. And that's why I look like I'm a runaway slave or I just got out of prison and I'm hiding out in my shack.
So let's clarify that comment on blocking.
Okay.
And that's not to say Gerard is taking up Bo's tactics. He's just figuring out his boundaries for himself and figuring out how he wants to manage them for himself.
If Gerard had took up Harsh Schmidt's tactics, then he wouldn't have to block anybody. You know.
Well, I told you guys a story, right?
There's a story?
Did I tell you? All right. So we talked the day before I saw my second rattlesnake.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So the first one I saw was in town. It actually was at a motel and it bit my bag. It didn't bite me, which was good.
It was in the motel?
The second one, huh?
It was inside the motel?
No, it was in like a walkway. I checked in like at 11 o'clock at night. I was half awake, you know, carrying bags going in. I didn't see it. And like, I literally almost stepped on it. So it jumped up, you know, bit the bag and just started going crazy. But that, you know, that was one thing. But the second rattlesnake I saw, I was walking up in my hills and I was reading Facebook comments. Like, and I'm like, well, you know, you're doing multiple things, you're multitasking, but I got bogged down reading one of these BS comments from somebody who's just, you know, who's been around trolling forever. I mean, I don't, you know, what's that?
What they're helping.
So, I mean, I don't dislike the guy or anything. I don't have time. Like, you know, when I check Facebook, I'm checking Facebook because I have friends there that leave deep comments, things that make me laugh or things that make me think. I don't care about, you know, people who post the same damn thing all the time and like personal attacks because they're trying to get friends or they want people to follow them or whatever. I don't know his problems and I really don't care about his problems. But I'm like reading his comment and I'm going through all this, how, oh, you know, with Gerard is this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 and Duffy's stupid, blah, blah, blah. I taught him everything he knows. I'm like, dude, I've known you for like 2 years. You know, like I don't even know your middle name. I mean, you taught me everything I know. But and so I'm like, I'm half focused on the bullshizzle comment, and I almost stepped on like a 5-foot rattlesnake. Like I'm climbing up the hill and I'm not paying attention because it is bullshizzle, right? And so, and this is what I'm saying, that, you know, my mind out here it needs to be more focused on being out here. You know, I don't have any issue reading Facebook comments, but it's got to be stuff that's worth it. So people who are like just little, you know, children on the internet posting comments, trolling, I don't know if they're jealous or ego or drama, whatever they got going on, that has nothing to do with me. Like they need to take that stuff and go somewhere else with it. Like when I don't have a whole lot of time, when I log on to Facebook, I want to see things that are important, right? And I have a lot of friends who post deep comments and things that are important, but there are people who've been posting the same nonsense because, you know, maybe they don't like the fact that Beaufont has so many friends or Harsh has a following and they want it too. So I literally almost stepped on a rattlesnake because I'm sitting here reading a stupid comment from somebody who is either on medication or they got bad things happening in their life right now and they can't stop, like, you know, crap posting on posts. So anyway, so I realized at that point,
it's not even that complicated, Gerard. It's not even that complicated.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not. I'm just trying to explain, you know, what happened. And so I was thinking about the conversation we had the day before. And you were like, you know what? Listen, this is my life. I'm living my experience. When you post things that don't equate with where I'm going or where I'm at, I'm going to block you. It's not a personal thing. I'm not angry. I don't hate you. Just what you're posting, it doesn't equate with where my life is at.
Well, not even so much what people post, it's why they post it. right? I mean,
What's
we have
that?
a lot in our, so it's not even so much what people post. A lot of times you can feel why. We have a lot in our little community that get off on thinking that they're truthers. And if they didn't have that, they probably wouldn't have much of a personality. Let's just be real about it. But I mean, at the bottom line, you know, I pay attention to how things sit with me and my own inner dialogue. And if I have to spend a lot of time keeping myself in a place to be chill, to keep you around, and that goes on for an extended period of time and it becomes harder, I pay attention to that effort and go, I notice that pattern. And at some point I'm like, and that has nothing personal. That's just more of just a universal chemistry. And, you know, the funny thing is even in those moments, I've had some very real conversations of people coming back around, and we've grown from those moments. And a lot of times we don't. But, you know, I like having a diverse group of people that usually can own their shit and they're honest. And that's usually the issue. If they're not honest, they're not going to stick around at all.
Exactly. There are times where I feel where if I'm in a position like, okay, if I gotta like watch what I'm saying, does these people don't get pissed off, there's gonna be a problem. But then they end up blocking me anyway because I do some shit that pisses them off, either whether I did it on purpose or not. And then I'm just like, well, I dodged a bullet with that nonsense. But
people need to pay attention to that conversation going on inside them. That's a real conversation. In fact, all of your conversations start with the conversation going on in your head. The conversations we're having right now started in our heads.
Yeah, I'm just glad Gerard's no longer doing live streams where he's sitting like this for like 5 hours at a time.
What I'm worried about is a smoothie.
And he's like this, and he's like that, and you're just like, damn, get a better chair. What the fuck, man?
Well,
I'm worried about.
yeah,
I haven't seen a smoothie in your hand in forever.
I know.
Or a nana. Do you even know how to get smoothies out in the desert?
Yeah, well, you know what? I have the equipment. I have the veggies, and I got the fruits. But I haven't made a smoothie since I've been out here. No, like it's, you know, there'll probably be some sort of ceremonial event when I make one. Like it'll be after the kitchen is done and the counter is done.
You probably didn't poop for like 3 months.
I know I didn't poop enough. I'll say that. Where my prunes at? By the way, I didn't poop enough. I got them though. I got them now. Prunes are safe and effective, brothers. If you ever need to loosen up the juices, prunes will do that. And if it's an emergency, don't eat the dried prunes. Just drink the prune juice. That stuff will liquefy you in a minute. I've been eating camp food. Well, the first 2 months I was eating camp food, and I paid a hard price for that. I don't do that no more. I pop prunes now.
I can feel that. It's almost like you wake up like you've been drinking. I can feel it. Like,
yeah, it's not good.
It's not good.
Jill says you can't be a truth warrior publicly when your personal life is all lies.
Oh, I thought that was pubically.
Publicly, what's the difference at this point? Anyway, Bert Walker says, but Harsh, you were mean to Robert. Even though he's old enough to be my stepdad, Harsh. Don't be mean to Robert. Don't be mean to Robert.
All of these profiles are so weird.
I know. Gerard, what I don't understand is, how is it that you're in the middle of nowhere, you're on limited electricity, and somehow you're able to post 8 times a day? That's what I don't. I'm not even off the grid, and I only post like maybe 3-4 times, like a week at this point.
So I tried to explain it before. It's my creative process. Like when I'm around people, I'm not really thinking. But when I'm doing things, I'm thinking. And if I'm welding, or if I'm planting seeds, or if I'm building something, my mind is exercising. If I'm doing creativity, you know, these thoughts come to my head. I'm like, go. Here's another way of saying the same damn thing that I've been saying for 1,000 years. I'm gonna post it, but it's saying it a different way. Maybe this might wake up one of our sleepy friends, and I'll post it. But no, I've got plenty of power. I mean, I've got lithium ion phosphate batteries. I've got solar panels. All that noise you heard outside was the wind turbines. I've got plenty of power. I mean, it's not where I can just be super wasteful with it. But as far as like keeping my laptops charged, there's a television. I've got an air conditioner. I just choose not to use it. I've got a refrigerator. I mean, like I said, I'm not like roughing it. I have no interest in roughing anything. To me, that's stupid.
But Gerard, let's be honest. The reason why you got that fucking bullshit from those individuals is because they couldn't do what you're doing, and they can't admit that.
I think anyone can. I'll try to be fair and say
you're right. But
anybody...
they don't operate without. They self-identify by their limitations, and it's not that anyone needs to be doing exactly what you're doing, but figuring out what that is for themselves.
I mean, I agree. I mean, there's a jealousy thing there that has to do with, okay, that person figured out probably what they should be doing with their life. Now they're going to go do it. I still have no idea what to do with my life, but I'm still whining about it on the internet, trying to figure it out, maybe, something like that. I think you're not too far from the truth. But I think anybody can do anything. It's just whether or not you want to tolerate whatever that is. I mean, to a degree, this is like a hurt locker for me, right? Like I'm putting my body through, different challenges on a daily basis, and I'm putting my life at risk. But to me, this is exciting. This is living. This is doing what I feel I'm supposed to be doing. And I see, a lot of light at the end of that tunnel. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, a couple of those guys are they just been around forever. And I really don't know their end game. I don't know what they want. Like they're just constantly whining and crying about stuff. And it's just like, most people already blocked them. It's just, when I was on grid, my patience was up to here. Right now that I'm off grid, I have more things I'm focused on that are more important. My patience is not where it used to be.
Well,
and so, yeah.
It's basically they self-identify by their limitations, and they are addicted to that identity that they're not going to venture out. So they're going to defend it. And that means sometimes attacking invisible threats that don't even exist and creating that. I always like to say is like, you can't really judge and call someone, I can't really judge if someone's a sociopath, but I can tell when people are acting like sociopaths by what they do. And there's a difference.
The behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think probably to a degree, we're indoctrinated to have sociopathic type behaviors. And there are folks who can't seem to get out of it. And I think the guys that we're kind of talking about, they just don't know how to get out of it. They're stuck. I don't know what to do with my life. So I wake up in the morning and I find people to fuss and complain at, and it makes me feel better about something. What did Harsh have to tinkle? Harsh, are you tinkling?
I just wanted to know when the Gerald therapy session came to an end. Anyway.
Well, now's the time of the show where we do a group hug, I think.
I know, an uncomfortable hug.
Long uncomfortable hug. Yes.
Long comfortable hug. Maybe some grabbing.
Jonathan will give you that tomorrow when he sees you.
Hey, where the
Dude,
hell
what
is
happened to
Jonathan
Chris
at?
Lewis? He's
supposed to
like
be
a
here.
ghost.
He's sleeping.
Who, Chris Lewis?
Yeah, he's like a ghost. I hardly see him anymore. I used to do live streams with him all the time. Now he's like a ghost.
He's been
Isn't he
spending a lot of time
like
with his
traveling
son.
the world?
Oh yeah, that is true.
Huh?
He's like a world traveler now. Yeah, I forgot.
He went to Costa Rica, right? Was it Costa Rica?
Yeah.
Or
every time I see him, he's got pictures like he's in Europe or somewhere in South America. Like it seems like he's just traveling the world right now.
Right.
I don't know.
See, there he
But
is right there.
I have
Speaking
to
the
say-
devil. He's on right now.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there he's right there.
Yeah.
Oh man, we were just talking to Chris. We were just talking about you, man.
It's all about people helping people, man.
His ears must be
No, I
burning.
mean, I think Chris is like, a normal type of person too, right? He figures out what he wants to do in life and he goes and he does it.
Right.
He doesn't sit around and complain about it. Like you have to get to a point where you do it. And he's doing it. I mean, he's been an activist for a long time as well. And it's pointless if you don't act, right?
Yeah,
If you're an activist on the internet, I mean, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hart says what you say all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is activism, the whole point of activism to actually act, not just to be like, all right, these people are stupid. Let's make sure we avoid them to help the cause. Or, oh, you got to watch it for this crook or that. It's like you can only like yell on the internet so much. At some point, it
we
just
have some
becomes
personalities.
counterproductive.
If they weren't protesting, would they actually have a social life?
I could say for most of them, no. And you know what? That's not to shame them either, because there were times in my life where I got into activism. There are certain causes, partially because I believed in it, but the other part is because, well, maybe I'd meet some new people instead of the same old, party bus.
Right.
So, I mean, it is what it is. The problem is when you get addicted to that, because that's when it's like, okay, that's not good.
Well, I think at some point you kind of have, and this is something that becomes a interesting topic when you start talking about like becoming a sovereign, reclaiming your sovereignty. One thing I've always never really understood is appealing to an authority system to go through a process to reclaim your sovereignty seems counterintuitive to me. I never really got that.
Well, first thing I want to say, got to deprogram to reprogram.
Paid for by the Chris Lewis Initiative.
All right, but to go back to your point, absolutely. But you know what else makes no sense, Bo? Knowing that before you're even born, you lose your sovereignty. How the hell is that even possible? It's like, yay, I'm out of the womb and a kid. Oh, wait, what? I don't. The Vatican has my birth certificate. What the fuck? How the hell are you registered under a different country's corporation just because you fucking exist as a child? I will never understand that shit either. Like, I don't know. The logic is when you realize the illogical things can balance each other out.
Right.
What? That's kind of what I realized. Like, well, why the hell does my birth certificate have a fucking account number on it? What the hell is
you
this?
changing your underwear? What's going on?
What?
Oh, damn.
Oh.
That's freaky. All we see is your eyes. You look like a cat.
Oh, Gerald, yeah. He's like the black cat.
No, I'm out. No, I had to come outside. I forgot a few things out here.
You had to go pee.
It's dark out here. Here's why I don't come out here much, because something could be hiding around the corner waiting to take a bite. And I'm not interested in. What's that?
I thought you were indoors.
He went back
I'm
outside.
outside.
Okay.
You don't see the sun? Or the
That's pretty.
that's the sun over the mountain.
That'd be
Still
pretty
setting.
pretty. Is that Venus? Or is that aircraft up in the left?
Nah.
Yeah, no, that's it. Your guess is as good as mine. It's a planet.
It's Venus. Maybe.
It's the brightest one in the sky. It's humongous. The moon is like ridiculous out here if I can find it. But what's weird is the moon is like up in the daytime in Texas. It's a weird thing. Like, there's no moon here tonight. There's no moon here tonight because the moon would be out tomorrow, like 10 o'clock in the morning. It's the weirdest thing. Well, to me, I'm from Pennsylvania, so.
Yeah.
No, I had to. Whoa! I almost died. Did you see that? That's why people watch live streams.
Mm.
Like, oh my God, it's a mountain lion! Oh, Jesus, Lord, help me! Ah! Scream, shoot the gun a few times. That would be fun.
That definitely get the most views. That would definitely get the most views. We all gonna die. Well, at least
What I love is
We're all
that
gonna die.
We've seen Gerard slip into like beyond third world hygiene, and he still gets a deluge of women's undergarments in his inbox.
yeah.
That's take notes, guys. This is how it's done.
I'm just glad Gerard stopped zippering up himself. Like he used to do it like every other
Oh,
week.
zipping it. Oh yeah, that one weekend where you had that issue with the fucking that live wire that broke on that weekend, and you had to go patch it up, and you zippered your junk into yourself.
Oh, why would you bring that up? Why would you even?
Because it's
Why
funny.
would you even remind me of that? There's man code that you're violating. Why would you even bring that up? Nobody wants to be reminded by that type of pain.
We all go.
Oh, I
We love
almost
you,
died.
Gerard.
I wanted to die.
Oh,
I wanted
yeah.
to die.
No one likes to zip up.
Oh,
their
yeah,
own
no, it was
jiggly
in the
bits in
zipper,
their own
bruh.
zipper.
So sometimes
It
I
was in
wonder.
the
If
zipper.
sometimes I wonder if you're like a human being or like a really good stage actor, because only you come up with these situations. I'm like, is this even real life? Like,
You know what? The only thing that came to mind, y'all remember, is it American Pie? Where the guy, or something about Betty or something about Mary, where the guy he was meeting, his girlfriend's dead,
in the bathroom.
and he's
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
first
okay,
scene of
here's the
movie.
top of the zipper. Here's the top of the zipper. Here's the bottom of the zipper. And there's in the middle, there's skin hanging out. This is not supposed to be here. This is too much pain. Why would you even bring that up? That's horrible.
No.
Anyway, but not, I don't know, the live. Oh, you mean at the house, the power, when the squirrel knocked the ground wire off.
Well, you had fried squirrel.
Okay, yeah. I don't.
That seems like
I guess that
lifetimes
was about
ago.
the same time.
That seems like forever ago.
And that's a good example. Good example, right? When I'm focused on things, I need to be focused on them. All kind of things die and people lose penises and testicles and things when they're not focused. This is why I'm blocking people. Good example. This is why I'm blocking people. I don't have time for bull chisel. I only got I got things I want to keep in my life. And I don't want to be losing them because of people who just can't figure out how to behave on the internet.
Yeah. Well,
See, this is what I do with laundry.
Yeah, once
I wore
went
it yesterday, but it's still clean.
Oh, that's good. That's good. The less bacteria. If you're outside in the heat, if it's dry heat,
there's no clean and dirty. Clean and dirty are fake news. There is clean, just came back from the laundromat, and then there's a whole spectrum going down to just not acceptable. Don't wear this in public. Right. And this one is acceptable. I'm about to put this on.
Well, the thing is, if you hang it out outside in the dry heat, that itself is like, if it's hot enough, that itself is like a cleanse.
It's weird. There aren't many smells out here. It's a weird thing. But if you ask Jonathan, he'll probably disagree.
he's like, when he stands a quarter of a mile downwind from you.
Now that when you also got a big beard in your nose, you're gonna like smell things more often.
Oh, ZZ Crop, some ZZ Crop action tomorrow.
Yeah. But yeah, to go back to what you're saying online, it's like after Flint, Michigan, after going to Flint, Michigan twice to donate water, like all the online stuff doesn't really matter. You're just like, it's just a waste of time. Even like fake activism does. Even just like grandstanding and just marching about stupid shit doesn't matter. You're not helping people. So, that's what I learned when I was up there.
Well, you do something. And that's why I said I mostly respect people who are actually living their lives and doing something. Yeah. But, the whole world's changed. Why is anybody still doing the same dumb stuff they were doing before 2020? Go do something different. Do something new.
Yeah. Exactly.
Boom. Is that? Do they even do that music anymore? Or is that like outdated?
Stripper pole, Mars, Texas, stat.
I thought it was a different song with the stripper pole. You know, Danny DeVito
Is
down
it?
there.
I thought it was the same one. Or is that no? That's like 60s porn, isn't it? I don't know. No, that's more like break it down, tick it down, round, tick around. Everybody had people, uncles they stole tapes from. Don't act like I'm the only one. Friends,
Gerard went to El
fathers and
Paso to
stuff.
fucking start a business manufacturing patchouli. We all know that.
All right. On this note,
That's bedtime.
this is where I say goodbye. Have a great weekend, and tune in on the show tomorrow, on my show tomorrow night when
No, you don't get to come here and advertise your shit.
when JC
Is that
Bellick talks
spam?
about
Hang
why
on,
Australia
is
is
that
still shut
spam?
down.
You gotta charge his ass.
Is that spam?
That's spam.
Let me mute. I'm gonna mute him. I've never muted Harsh before. See if I can mute him. Is he muted? I don't know how to mute. I should mute him, huh?
Put an eggs on.
You
Put
just-
an
you're
ad on
supposed to
Craigslist
ask.
like everyone else does.
You're just putting shameless plugs in, man. Why don't you ask? Ask for permission.
All right.
He
You just
probably
took
has
over the
club
whole
flyers too.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
Beaufort,
thank
you
you,
know the
Gerard,
worst
for
part?
having me on. And
Beaufort, the
help
worst
out Gerard
part?
as much as you can, everybody.
No. Here's the worst part, Beaufort. I was believing it was his show. I was shutting up because I figured he was ending the show. That's the worst part. I was like, yeah, oh damn, oh yeah, I guess it is bedtime. I guess we're gonna go now. Harsh has too much of a dominating person. Who are you talking to, Harsh? Who was that? Who was
Yeah,
that?
okay.
Is that Miss Harsh? Miss
Uh-huh.
Harsh? Miss Harsh, can we talk to you for a second? Boo boo. Boo
Uh-huh.
boo, ma'am. Ma'am, can you come back here for a second?
Is that
Look,
3 hours?
What's
Soul
it-
Mix?
It's called I'm wasting too much time here. See y'all later. No,
3 hours.
What's
Soul
her
Anyway,
Mix.
name?
thank
Harsh?
you
No,
so-
don't
thank
go
you.
Are
nowhere.
they charging by the hour?
Harsh. Harsh,
It's
what's her
called,
name? Whoa.
The
Miss
name,
Harsh?
the- her name
Ma'am,
is,
can we
I
talk
don't-
for a
her
minute?
name is called I Don't Like Gerard. That's her name. Anyway, on that. See y'all later. Thank
Ma'am,
you. Thank
Ma'am,
you for
can
having
we
me on,
talk?
Gerard.
I know you can hear me. I know you hear me, ma'am. We need to have a conversation. What is even like being with Harsh? We need to know there are details and understandings and statements and things that you need to explain to
That's
us.
going to be in the book. It's going to be
No one has
Gerard's
seen a
Ocrophobia.
harsh mating in the wild. That's
Yeah.
yet to be documented.
Ma'am,
It's going to be a
what is
documentary.
your-
It's
are
going to be a book. It's
Annie?
going to be everything. All right.
Lisa, what is your name, ma'am? Are you there for the night? Are you like this is permanent? Is it?
Did you just assume that person's gender?
Oh, good point. Good, very good, dude. Hey, sir, can
Ma'am.
we talk, sir? Good point. You're absolutely right. I made some assumptions and connected some dots that I should not have done. See, that's funny. I was like, I've never been on a show where Harsh left early before everybody else. There's a reason why. Somebody, whoever he was talking to was very important to him.
For the next
He was
30
like,
minutes at
screw
least.
Beaufort. Yeah, he's like, screw Beaufort and Gerard. Like, no, I'm about to get me some. I have no
Yep.
time for their nonsense.
But yet you're going to see a call from him at 1 o'clock in the morning.
when he has nothing to do.
Exactly.
But when he got something to do, like we're like trash. We're like outdated spam. He just throws us to the side. Like and he tried to end the whole show because he wanted to go get him some. I'm happy, but I feel good on the inside that Harsh is getting something though. That makes me feel good. All right. I have no idea how this show descended to where it descended to.
Because we're kids.
Back to your point. We don't grow up and we shouldn't grow up. That's the
No.
dumbest thing. What is growing up? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I think
I think TJ
funny
Glenn
'cause
she lives off grid, or she used to. You know TJ?
I don't, but I respect the effort. I have a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, it's funny because I mean, it's one of the things is I keep in mind also is like the things you got to do while you're in a city. Like I had to think about that in Seattle because at any given time we could have a major earthquake, and it's not an easy place to get in and out of when that shit goes down. I have 5-gallon buckets full of beans and grits and flour, and I have like 5 or 6 of them. I could eat for at least 6-7 months. I had to.
What are you expecting to go down?
I mean, well, then it was like possibility of an earthquake. I mean, because I went through the Nisqually earthquake in the early 2000s and saw how that went down and the WTO riots and stuff like that. But it wasn't so much like expecting anything particular to go on, and just be prepared. You know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do when you're in an apartment. I mean, even though you're in it was an apartment setting, you have to do some things to prep. But at the same time, I don't want to get overly compulsive because, I mean, if things get bad enough, you have to be mobile too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I were in an apartment, the only thing I'd prep is how to get the hell out of it. Like that, the last place you want to be in uncertainty is in the damn city. You want to get out. You want to go. Well, you want to be.
I don't think
anywhere
that's
people are
anymore because I think there's a lot of Home Depot and grocery store and Walmart warriors out in the suburbs as well. Not everybody that's out in the country is anywhere near to be self-sufficient. I know that for a fact. So in a lot of ways, it might be. It's just a different set of circumstances. I don't know. I think you just have to be prepared, one way or the other.
Well, that's what all of our ancestors were. They were always prepared. Storms always came. Gas prices always went up. People always get fired from their jobs. Just being prepared for the world, being prepared for what happens is a smart thing to do.
I mean, for example, I could see if shit went down and just say it was a hurricane or earthquake. I mean, the last thing I'd want to do is be on the road with everybody else, try and get the fuck out. If I have some resources to stay put for a while, I can wait some of that out, maybe go 3 weeks later or something like that, So, I mean, you have to kind of think that one through. And you just never know what part of it's going to be fucked up. Look at like Lafayette. Louisiana has got hit 3 times in the past year and a half. And there's not much there to begin with, but.
Yeah. Well, but I think back to your point of there are a lot of people in the suburbs who aren't anywhere near self-sufficient. I mean, that was the whole intent, right? Like government gains its power from dependence. Like that's the whole march of what this is. They're, year after year trying to make more people dependent on them so there could be more of them so they can get pay raises, so they can get more lobbyist checks. So their job security is making people dependent, making dependents out of citizens. And so I don't think there's like this, and this is why I really don't, focus on politics at all, because they're all the same. They're all about increasing the power of the system so they can get retirements, so they can have job security. And but the problem is with that system is you get to a point where they get so good at what they do, the people are so weak. They're so, useless in terms of being able to just take care of themselves, feed themselves, clothe themselves, get to work. What is water? How do you find it? Medication, natural herbs versus pharmaceutical. And you make massively dependent people and that society has to collapse because the government can only get so big and take care of so many dependents before the entire thing collapses and that cycle like just restarts all over again.
Well, I think the problem is you have to look to the Native Americans and look what they were able to do to the Native Americans. And if they could do that to the Native Americans, imagine how easy it is. I mean, because that was the most self-sufficient society that we've had. And they attacked the very core resources. Like look at the buffalo, for example. Just for that exact, that's what property tax was for. They want you addicted to the system. So I think we need to talk more about limiting our dependency on the system rather than doing a wholesale walk away from the system first, and then talk about how we can continuously, exponentially evolve with each step about limiting our participation in the system. Because I think unfortunately, we all have to, at some degree, have to evolve, participate in the system to get even to move to some sort of self-sufficiency off of it.
Well, so, when I think about it, I think about, well, what is the end game? And the end game is some sort of sovereignty for human beings, right? Some sort of, you are the most important thing going, and we're not going to let anything get in the way of what you need to do as long as it's peaceful. And that is almost always government. But it doesn't take, the wholesale, removing of everyone from the system, right? Like to me, I'm off grid because, it was the most effective thing I could think of to do. But the intent is to get the system back, right? Like it's not their system. There's no reason for everyone to move off grid. We just need to collapse their system to give humans their sovereignty back. And it doesn't take, I think they say what it takes, something like 5 or 10% of no growth to collapse this system. Like this particular economic system, it requires regular growth. And if it stops growing because of lack of participation, it will collapse because it needs to continue to grow. And so all we need is enough people to remove themselves from portions of the system, not the entire system, just portions of it. And with that collapse or the adjustment that comes, that understanding that, we built this entire Hunger Games system and it's not theirs. It doesn't belong to Rothschilds and Rockefellers and governments and Democrats and Republicans. It belongs to the people. Like the people built all of this. And so it's their system. So I'm not like, I don't hate, and when I say system, I mean the infrastructure. I don't hate living on grid. I'm just thinking that, what is the end game? The end game is to get the world back. The world belongs to us. We built the world. It is not the 1%'s world.
So I think I want to leave you. I want to leave you with a thought that I this was part of. I ran into this concept in reading Daniel Quinn's book, Story of B. And he writes that novel from an anthropological perspective. And one of the concepts he explores is that we're one of the few species, if not the only one, that willfully violates what's called the fishbowl effect. Meaning that every species within some sort of ecosystem limits its own population based on its food supply, on its ability to take care of itself. And we're one of the few species that violates that rule willfully. We produce more food for starving, which in turn increases population, and we do this constant chasing our tail, solving this problem and by creating the inherent mechanisms that were the root cause of the initial problem and perpetuate that cycle. As an example, it was something I need to kind of look back at that because it was almost like a biological principle that they cited for that. But like, you know, it was all the whole analogy. If you put like 5 goldfish in a fishbowl and only give them so much food, they're only going to populate enough to fill that fishbowl, right? And if you look at the globe as a fishbowl, you know, we've broken the sustainability of the natural mechanisms because of our violation of that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because goldfish individually are sovereigns and they're sustainable. They eat within their own means and they know how not to have more babies if they can't provide for those babies. Human beings are not sovereigns. We are in a system that dominates us and indoctrinates us to do things that we see on television, to do things we're told to do because we're supposed to do them. Get married, have 2 kids, 2.5 kids, station wagon, house, dog. And so everybody's doing the same stupid thing and the world can't take that. Everybody wants to eat steak and everybody can eat steak. Everybody wants to drive all their, their cars and use all the gas. Everybody can't do that, right? So if we were sovereign like goldfish, even in a fish bowl, they still maintain their sustainability, their sustainability, right? They do the things, from with what makes sense from within itself.
But that's the change.
They utilize, what's that?
But that's the change that we incurred 10 to 15,000 years ago. But there was a time in our human history where our society operated based on how we observed nature to operate instead of how we thought it ought to operate. And that was the switch. That was that switch from patriarchal to matriarchal, or matriarchal to patriarchal. I'm sorry.
Right. All over the world.
Oh, yes.
Not just Native Americans, all world.
No, and so it kind of, that became this. There's that saying that we stop being human when we stop migrating.
And that makes sense. If you think about human history, from the majority of known human history, the vast majority of the time we were hunter-gatherers. We've only stopped doing that since the advent of modern agriculture, which is where our health took a dive, probably our empathy, our critical thought, our being in tune with the ecosystem. All day. The minute we created these organized civilizations,
the minute we took a look at what was around us, and we decided that this was made for us, that this was ours, that we were the point of evolution.
Ooh. The minute we discovered narcissism, the collective narcissism.
I hate to say it, but yes.
I mean, that's a deep topic. We actually should probably try to see if we can drag Jonathan on a live stream tomorrow and go through that. That would be a deep live stream.
Yes.
What's that?
Kicking and screaming. He'll be like, "No, I want to be on a live stream."
To do it. That's Facebook. I know he'll hate it. I have to work him in. I'll talk him into it. Huh?
Do you have a whole day of slave labor planned for him tomorrow?
No, I don't do that to Jonathan. When he's here, like I'll to be honest, the reason I'm exhausted is I'll do heavy labor, like before he shows up. Susan O'Neill was here last week. I'll do heavy labor before anyone shows up. Like I'm not looking for slave labor, right? Like the thing that I use people for when they come here is things that takes 2 hands, right? Holding a ladder, doing things that are inherently dangerous if I did them by myself. So, I was shoveling all day. What's that?
Anything involving barbed wire?
My legs are like shredders. Like my legs look like, Edward Scissorhands was like, shaving my legs. Like they're all cut up because doing barbed wire fencing by yourself is not a fun thing. Like it's inherently dangerous and you're no matter how slow. What's that?
That shit fights back and wins.
It does. No matter how slow you go, no matter how methodical your process, and I'm gonna be honest, both my process was pretty methodical in how I'm putting the posts up and I'm wrapping the barbed wire. It doesn't matter. You're going to cut yourself. And so every day I'd go out there and like I'd come back and my pants are like shredded, blood dripping down. You know, it's a bit of a mess. So no, it's not gonna be that. I mean, usually we'll work for a few hours, we'll do some things, and but I think even tomorrow we're probably gonna start off in town. I'll probably take him to. There's actually a very good, delicious breakfast spot in El Paso. I have to. If you ever come down, I got to take you over here. The guy owns like 5 restaurants in Juarez, and he came across the border to open one in here. So like, it's truly authentic Mexican food. It's freaking delicious. So I'll talk him into doing a live stream tomorrow. But we should like that. That would be a deep live stream of, you know, how did we get here, right? Being human is being hunter-gatherers. Being human isn't living in stick houses and working for corporations. Being human is hunting gathering. Now we're changing that, you know, but I would say if we go along with the mainstream, you know, belief system that human beings are 200,000 years old, for the vast majority of that, we didn't do this. In fact, we've only been doing this for what, 200 years?
We've been doing this about 5,000.
Well, no, I'm saying modern civilization in an economic system.
Yeah, but I think that the modern economic system, I mean, comes from a sense of ownership and a sense of deity and rulership class, which was the advent of what we're talking about. That was, to me, that when I start seeing rulers and kings and stuff like that, which was probably anywhere from 5,000 to 7,500 years ago. You know, like Native Americans, the chief. If the chief wanted to go to war and you were a member of the tribe and you didn't want to go to war, then they probably make fun of you and maybe they'll kick you out of the tribe. But they can't force you to go to war. Yeah. The chief didn't have that power.
Well, right. Well, you were right. You made your own decisions.
Yeah,
and that happened all the time.
Right.
You know, you lose respect in the community. Right.
But that whole, you know, as a citizen, I own you, and you do what, you know, the king's will, because I am the representative of God. I mean, that's why I always say religion is a first and foremost a political tool. Yeah.
Well, it always has been. Mm-hmm. You know, but the fail really wasn't, the first fail wasn't religion and modifying these scriptures to make the kings, you know, first before God or whatever.
Religion was created to justify.
It was us. It was modern agriculture. Modern agriculture broke everything. I mean, to my understanding, is when you created modern agriculture, you had towns, you had small groups that were growing their own food. They were sustainable. They were planting seeds, and they had abundance to a degree. They didn't have to hunt and gather. But then you had other groups that were still hunting and gathering. And part of that hunting and gathering is what you were growing. Mm-hmm. So we came together under chiefs and kings and lords for protection from the groups that were taking the things that we were growing with modern agriculture. And so it really, that's the beginnings of this idea of giving someone else our own power and them dictating to us what we do and don't do.
You can't own land without the threat of violence.
You shouldn't be able to own land without the threat of violence. Well, it's going to come. You're right. You're right. It's going to come because, right. It's an ecosystem. How can one creature own land? That makes no sense. It's the dumbest thing that's ever occurred. But from a helping people to understand that you shouldn't be able to own land without starting a war, because you're literally taking that land from all these other creatures that need their ecosystem. The violation, the first shot in the beginning of the war isn't when they come, it's when you claim that this is mine and I own this dirt and I own these trees and you can't have anything from this dirt and these trees. That is a war. That's the first shot.
That is me telling you what you need to adopt my reality.
Right. This is mine. I drew lines around this. This belongs to me. You can't eat anything on this soil that I didn't cultivate. It was here before I got here. The trees were here before I got here, but I'm doing some things to it now. But people have been cultivating, growing, planting seeds, hunting, gathering since the beginning of time. So the idea that we're just we're going to steal this area and this belongs to us and it no longer belongs to you is an act of war.
Indeed,
That'd
yes.
be a great topic, man. We should dig into that. That actually, I mean, I love to go back and think about how did we get here to where we are today, and what were the key failures.
We kind of need to, but at the same
unfortunately-
time, and this was a part of that book too, is like how we decide what is nature and what is not nature, instead of recognizing that as all nature, even the shopping mall, unfortunately. Because sometimes we think about we need to go back to an idealized past that we're not even equipped for it, instead of creating an unknown new that might be more sustainable, that takes and looks and honors those principles, but the way it goes about it can't be done because we don't live in that time.
Well, you can't ever go back. To me, that going back is stupid, and you can't ever go back. Like the genie's already out of the bottle. There is no going back to hunting and gathering. Like that's gone. I mean, but I've always been a proponent, as you know, of the automated economy. A resource-based economy. Creating a new that resembles nothing. It resembles the technological advancement of today and the convenience without the control, without the enslavement, without the forced labor components, where the automation serves the people, not the kings. And it's building the houses, it's growing the food, it's taking care of the necessities, 3D printing the cars. There's no real reason to keep human beings in a state of slavery that we're doing. Is progressing to this new world, which is not people say, oh, you're a utopian. It's not a utopia, right? There is no such thing as utopia. No matter what we do, we're going to have problems. Machines are going to break down. People are going to die. Buildings are going to collapse. Software needs to get rewritten. Like there's a lot of work that has to constantly be done. But as opposed to living in a state of slavery right now, we could be progressing towards a resource-based economy, which really works when you're talking about giving everyone the abundance that they need to be happy with their lives. And then you start losing the reasons why war exists, right? The reason why violence and conflict exist. When people have the things that they need, they're not violent people. They want to go live their life. They want to play guitars and write with crayons and, explore and make things. But what government really does, this economic system, not government, it takes away from the people the things that will create violence and conflict amongst the people so that they can stay in power. See, we hired the king because we were scared to be alone because we started modern agriculture. We were scared to not be defended. But now it's the king that's taking things from us so that they can stay in power. So I agree with you. Let's go forward. Let's not go back. There are philosophies that are back that we can utilize, but we need to go forward with automation. We need to go forward with, creating a better world, but, one that's more sustainable and certainly one that's based in some sort of human sovereignty. To be the goldfish in the bowl in your example, we got to go back to being goldfish.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's gonna look different. Like, I mean, that's part of there's a saying from Einstein saying that you can't use your old dialectics because your dialectics that you're using right now is limited by your capacity to know a thing now. And it's to get to a new paradigm, you have to develop a new language for that, because you're going into an unknown. And that's part of what we were talking about before about taking on unknowns and taking on challenges, is that a lot of times people don't like to do that because they're not willing to allow themselves to be changed by the process, and they aren't going to be content with it unless they can just dictate change to their circumstances without them themselves changing, and that never works.
Right.
And that's part of this paradigm. Is not just the paradigm that needs to change. We have to change with it. But we want it one way. We're not willing. We want to demand and kick and scream and throw tantrums out in public for change, but we're not willing to change ourselves individually.
Right. Well, if we change, the system will change. We can't change the system and remain.
That's the only way it's going to change. In fact, that's the only way it's going to change.
Right. The system is us. That's the problem. It's not like we're fighting the system. We are the system. Why? We buy from it. We live from it. We work for it. We're utilizers of the system. We vote for it. The system is us. And until we change, talking about changing the system is useless because the system is valid, because we haven't changed. Until people change, the system is justified. I think it does, from shooting children on the street to bombing to securing land and putting up borders, and all the things that the system does is justified because we haven't changed. It fits. It's like that saying, the people get the government they deserve. We got the system we deserve.
I'm going to have to go here pretty soon, but I'll leave you on this note, and I've said it before. This is not the first time you've heard me say this. But this is why we have the Trumps, the Bidens, the Hitlers, the Reagans of the world, is because the system needs our attention, and it will arrest our attention to where we abandon the meaningful things we need to do to change ourselves. We will abandon our own sovereignty simply because we're distracted to that point. And it's almost by compulsion. I know I make fun of you from a sense of ODC, but there's a lot of truth in what I say about that too. Because it's by design. It really is.
Yeah. Well, it makes their system sustainable.
Yeah.
It makes us a sustainable.
You're so busy looking at the screen that you don't realize that life is happening behind you. And you're disconnected from everything that you need to sustain yourself. Clean water, good food, good people, hopefully good energy.
And when those things come up, you run from them. The system teaches you to avoid those things. Stay away from people, right? Seclude yourself. Now people will get you sick or whatever. And so the system constantly increases its sustainability by teaching us to stay away from the things that actually might free us.
Well, and the very thing, so you've heard me say this before, in order to participate in a sociopathic system, each and every one of us has to resort to sociopathic behavior just merely to exist in it. And nothing's going to change until we come face to face with our culpability with that. And that can come even the day-to-day to work that corporate job and to bite your tongue in those critical moments and to suppress your ego until you're able to get home. That's part of that behavior that I'm talking about, where we're having to kind of avoid and hamstring our own personal selves and our own true selves just for the sake to exist in this system, and at the expense of what that does to impact to our personal relationships, our kids if we have them, parent, we don't think of it as that, but that is a sociopathic. We are resorting to a sociopathic technique when we abandon our own true sense of selves for the sake of being able just to maintain professional decorum. Right.
Because that's how we fit in. It's how we succeed, not by being the sustainable goldfish in the bowl, but by being the clone of what we're told we should be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say anything else because this conversation, we're supposed to talk about this tomorrow. So we'll stick a pin in it right there.
Cool.
I won't say what I was gonna say.
We'll put a bookmark in this conversation. Hopefully to pick up on it later. You also need to get to bed because you probably have an early morning in the morning.
Yeah, I've got to make sure I'm prepared for the evening. I got a few other things I got to do outside. I try not to do too much outside at nighttime, but sometimes I don't have a choice. So I got to take care of a few things. All right.
At some point, either tomorrow or Saturday, when you get some of the stuff that Jonathan's brought with you, and you start getting your hands on that, give me a call either tomorrow or Saturday, and we'll talk through some of those things, maybe on a video chat, so I can show you some stuff just so you know.
Are you at work tomorrow?
About half day, and at some point we'll start heading down to San Diego. So whatever, just hit me up.
So afternoon, we'll hit you up after lunch.
Or sometime. I don't think I have any meetings in the morning, but I mean I will be kind of on station, on point, but I'll be around. Mark wants to know what time we're going on tomorrow. That's kind of be up to Jonathan and you guys, because I mean, it depends on how distracted or what y'all get. So, but I'll be around, and just hit me up. Yeah, I mean, I can stop and do a chat anywhere.
All right. What I'll do is something I've never done before, Mark. We'll actually post what time we're going to do it. So we have to kick that around. I think that actually would be a really interesting discussion. So I think I'll post a post just to let you guys know what time we're going to go on tomorrow.
Moon Stargazer. But it'll be a speaker. I'm a friend of Gerard's, and we're just talking the shit, and it just turns into these conversations. But I go by the moniker Bouffant Savant.
There you go. Oh, where's your name? Why is your name not showing up?
Because I'm on High End Hobo on this account on here.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, Bouffant, have a great night. Everybody, thanks for joining. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Yeah, there's no exit music. They keep hitting me for copyright strikes.
This is one of those shows. No, yeah, exactly.
Huh?
There'll be banjos in the background.
Yeah, no, there's no exit music. I want to see if it blocks the video. Every video I do, it gets kicked off immediately, even though I own the rights to the music. It's just they're not interested in the topics that we go through. But anyway, let's get going. Hey, I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good night.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right.